Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Zwift live broadcast of the Zwift Racing League presented by WTRL 2022-23 round one, race number 4. We're in EMEA. We're going to check out the second half of the men's Open East as well as the women's West right after that. The Open East is about 26 minutes in. 20K have been completed. They still got 30K of racing to go, Dave. This is a big day of racing, that's for sure. 7 laps, Champs-Élysées. We're in Paris. And the way that this course comes at you, it's kind of nonstop attacks are available. And that's what we've seen so far in the East.
Yeah, it's a tough course, no doubt about it. Old school, I would say. This sort of reminds me of racing that we've seen over the last couple of years rather than the new format with the Zwift Grand Prix and knockout rounds and that kind of thing. This is straight up. Obviously, fastest through segments come into play. Champs-Élysées, of course, it's more challenging, I think, than folks would realize. If you have watched the Tour de France, this is obviously the finale spot that they've used since the mid-'70s, I believe, is when they started going here. But the cobblestones, it's rough, no doubt about it. And it's a long day. I mean, 50K on, there's no serious climb. It's just a grind on one side. Then it flattens out for a while. You've got that crazy dip that you take as you go underneath the tunnel. We'll take a look at the course right here. Thanks, Nathan. It's only 30 meters of climbing. They're doing 7 laps out here today to equate to 50 kilometers. But Nathan, you've raced out here a lot. This is not an easy course to race on.
No, definitely with the points being so much on the board each and every lap, to be put up on the board every lap with that sprint 7 times. You could climb up to up the cobbles to the sprint section calmly if there wasn't so many points on the line. But being there every single lap and so much on the line there, you really need a really broad team that can take on a lot of different high-powered sprints, and you actually end up with a lot of situations because it's such a long race that people might start throwing some attacks off the front. Now, speaking of that, let's go ahead and take a look right down on the racing with the boys out of the EMEA East Open. Early on, we did see that WLC was taking a whole lot of risks, and we've actually perhaps had a couple of these try to stick. And this man, Timothy Rugg, non-stop attacks from him all day long. He's essentially been off the front, I think, more than he's been in the pack so far.
What's his style, isn't it? You're familiar with Timothy. He's had a very interesting professional racing career. He's raced in Africa. He's raced in Asia. He's probably raced on every continent now that I think about it. And I'm not sure if he's new for Wahoo Le Col or not. It seems to me like he might be. He's an American out of Northern California, but has a journeyman. Such an interesting, I'm sure he could write a book with all the stories that he could tell from his racing days. And here's another story he can tell in esports right now, Nathan. So this is the kind of guy that you absolutely love. You know what I mean, Nathan? As far as like a guy attacking at this point, I got to think he's looking for a couple of riders to come up and work with him because they still have, let's call it roughly 27K to go out here.
Yeah, he continues to do this too. I think that he's very interested in.
You think he's baiting them?
Yes, I think he's baiting things out to force other riders to battle with him.
Shumming the sharks.
And it's really worked for WLC, I think, so far to try and get a few of these other teams to try and chase something down or at least have to be the lead out or else Rugg just walks away with it here. So now he's off the front with 10 seconds. So this is the biggest step I've seen him have so far.
Yeah, and Nathan, as you know, he's dangerous enough that you can't play around. So he does. At this point, you might say, well, this seems pointless or fruitless, but it's definitely not. He's putting pressure on the other teams out here for sure. So, Nathan, just to be clear, this is EMEA. So this is Europe, Middle East, and Africa, the East Division 1. So this is a very, very high level that we're looking at.
Extremely. This is one of the
strongest groups.
Yeah, by far. Yeah. I mean, the level here, if we just want to name a few, BL13 is out here and is going to be one to be watching out for as always. We've also got P to Z out here, as we do see Navi Mel representing them. WLC, one of their top teams, Budge, Rugg, Welling, Top Cat, and a few others. Just is riding for BL13. I think he's the top scorer so far on the points, but it does look like Rugg, 9 watts per kilogram quick. Is he going to hold on to this one, Dave?
Well, I certainly he's going to hold on for this one for sure. There's a lot. I guess there's so much to talk about in ZRL. This is the fourth of 6 races for these guys. He might not, Nathan. Holy cow! You see what's happening behind him? A real surge. You made that call. It looks like he will hold on to answer your question, but not by as much as I might have thought a minute ago. So you can feel the real surge coming from behind him as we hit the middle point of the race right now. And that's going to be one of the Spanish riders. It looks like the Spaniards, the Armada is coming right now. So they're going to gobble up a bunch of points there as they make their way through here.
Yeah, and it does look like Peter Z grabbing a few more points out here today. I'm loving this kit that they've got in game now with the Pac-Man symbol on the back here at P to Z. They've always had such a cool setup when it comes to their representation.
Is that for gobbling up points like the dots in Pac-Man, right?
It looks like that's exactly what they're doing actually here. Let's take a quick look at the points. I don't think this is with the latest round number 4 of sprints in there, but Schuster's really doing an amazing job holding that FTS at 25 currently right now. FAL not mattering quite as much, as we do see Tracy there with 20 points on the board. Svensson representing SZ. Barry there for BL13 at 18 points, sitting in 4th right now. Harburg also for SZ there with 14. And then P to Z there with CID and RS there. They're going to be in 6th and 7th, but I think they're going to bump up the board here as soon as things start updating, because we also saw Galafev taking some more points than just 8 just a moment ago. Rugg did grab 8 points, as you can see, in a previous, I believe, go at the line. And then I think he just grabbed 10, so that's going to be 18 points on the board for him as well.
I mean, that's certainly that's a lot more than nothing, isn't it? When you look at the work that he's doing out here, he's also been the impact racer of the event so far, without any doubt. So these guys having at it. This is always, again, that group is starting to, you see the little splits happening, pressure being applied here, points total, that all adds up today. Then you put that into the table for the series here as we're getting down to brass tacks. Food Ray, one of the strongest teams that esports has ever seen. And this is Mathis that Shane is focusing in on. Yes, Nathan, see quite a few riders actually struggling at the back of this group. So they really are putting their foot on the throat of this race right now.
What's interesting to me is how many riders have fallen off this pack.
Me too. Yeah, it's
like we started with 75. Look at this. We've got a couple of stragglers. This is position 39 and 38, I believe, out on course. No, 39 and 40 out on course. And then outside of that, we've got there's 35 plus riders no longer involved in the main field.
Yeah, and it speaks to how selective this is. It's actually surprising because typically when you get to this level, the differential between abilities and the riders gets smaller and smaller. So this just tells me that these guys have been absolutely having at it here. There's Michael Gamst. Michael, one of the strongest riders that we've seen over the last few years. Mr. Consistency on that BL13 team. The Gamst family has been, Luis Gamst, his partner. They've been tremendous out here on both sides of the coin. So Nathan, they've made some selections. I'm not surprised. This is a very hard course. Again, thanks for joining us on ZRL Racing Tuesday edition. As we're deep into this season at this point, it's gone by quite quickly. They've got the team time trial done. That was last week. So now we get a chance to get back to, it's really points racing is we talk about points or scratch, these elements that you add with the fastest through segments. Makes a big difference. And I don't know, has the fastest through segment already been awarded? Because it constantly updates, Nathan, as you well know. You could see that happen on the last lap, but I can't imagine these guys, with as hard as they've been going, that you're going to see, the classic negative split, right? I don't think the last couple of laps will be the fastest laps, but last lap will be, but maybe not penultimate.
Yeah, it'd be difficult to try and set that fastest through segment on the final lap with how many you've seen so far. I have a feeling that we probably have already seen that fastest through segment. From here on out, most likely going to be more about FAL, and I have a feeling because of that, it's going to change the dynamics where people are going to maybe be doing a little bit more of what we just saw from Timothy Rugg. Throwing an attack off the front, try and grab those FALs, because that's probably most of what's on the board at this point that's available for points. It really changes things up as far as being able to grab as many points as you possibly can. It gives some motivation to these riders now to not wait in the pack and try and draft through for the highest speed you possibly can, but instead since FTS is probably not going to be out there for it, you can go ahead and take some more risks, I think.
100% agreement there, Nathan. And, we've talked so many times about risk and reward and that ratio. And on a day like today, especially if your team's been doing a good job in picking up bonus points along the way, whether it's first across the line points or fastest through segment, that's the FAL and FTS that you're talking about. Well, certainly now maybe you can play with the house's money here and go for it. There's a rider to watch. You see the BL13 rider, Nathan Barry, a huge talent. Dangerous sprinter, and that's what's going to happen now. It's going to be a barrage of attacks, and here we go. It looks like another one going up the road right now.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're probably going to see some of the BL13 boys looking to try and make some moves. It's actually SZ, though, making a move with, it looks like P to Z on the front, or is this just going to be a roll?
Swedish Zwifters, yeah.
Perhaps we'll see if this holds any kind of weight. It looks like it's just going to roll out. Nope, it's CID now. See, it's going to be P to Z. Making a little bit of a push. These are, if they can get a little distance, sometimes somebody will run with this. It looks like it's going to calm down now at this point. But a lot of times I've seen through this section of course, it's one of the danger spots because people start thinking about the climb up ahead.
I've come to realize, Nathan, I think a lot of times it's not so much about attacking the race to get a breakaway and make a breakaway stick. It's about putting people in trouble and then closing the door on them at the back of the group, right? If you see a talented rider struggling, that a lot of times makes sense to make these monster efforts here. Bike racing is such an interesting sport. You have to be very clever out there, no doubt about it. And that's where you see the stronger teams using their brain. When you've got an advantage, you need to take it, and certainly slamming that door on riders who seem to be in trouble, just putting them out of the group because it's so hard to rejoin all the dynamics at play. Once you let a 5-second gap open on a group that's motivated, Nathan, everybody out there has been in that situation. Only if not many riders can just get back up into that group. It's a big challenge.
Definitely is. Now we're heading into the final few sprints here. 3 laps to go. And again, we see the same move. It's worked for them, it seems like, before. He's going to do it again.
Why not?
This time they're not going to let him just get away. It does look like we're going to get a response.
Fool me once, shame on you, right?
Exactly. Now, Navamil here trying to come across as well. And it is going to be P to Z quickly responding. Here comes Wagner, also the German rider, and now we've really got some things ramping up. Nobody's letting Rugg get away. WLC not being allowed to play their tactics that they've seen so far.
Yeah, and you know what? That's bike racing right there. As these, like the animal instincts and just the way nature adapts. Well, once these riders realize what you're doing, they're not going to let Rugg pull that again. But good on him for trying here. But you can see this race goes into the ultimate level. It's going to be full chaos out here for the final 3 laps on the Champs-Élysées. So they're more than halfway through here. 7 laps total. When they started, this is Suven that we're looking at, the TPC rider, and they're going to counter over the top of that. It looks like BL13 is doing what they do, Nathan. This is a classic maneuver from this squad. And let's see who we've got up here now. Jimenez.
Yeah, Navamil as well. Tony, CID there now from the P to Z team. So they're working together toward the front. But this is an interesting situation because a lot of times if you're at this moment, before it actually hits any kind of an uphill grind, most of the time you end up just getting caught by a surging pack. So interesting to see Navamil, but he has been right up toward the front over and over again, scoring points. Barry here now from BL13. Mavier, where's coming across? Is BL13 in the later stages of this race really going to start making their moves and trying to grab as many FAL as possible? Because I don't think they've been quite as involved as they'd want to be amongst this level. I think that perhaps the back end of the race is what they're looking toward.
Nathan, I think you're exactly right because they know that that's where the race is won or lost. They've been able to conserve their resources. BL13 is a team that is a tactical masterminds, to tell you the truth. And I think most of the other teams out here are going to know that as well. It's getting frenetic out here now. As you can see, this next surge now, and this is going to be a big one here. Let's see how we're going to score this, Nathan, as we take a look at only the strong able to contest right now. There's the arch.
Juice, just hold on there between Svensson and Juice. It's going to be BL13 grabbing some more points. That's really big for them.
Look at the damage. So what do you do now, Nathan? I mean, look at this.
Do you just continue? I mean, perhaps.
Maybe. It's still a little early for that, but boy, it's tempting. It really is. You take a look at the other riders that are around you at this point. I mean, that's an interesting group. If everybody wanted to work just doing a quick inventory right now. And I mean, you got to think that this is going to regroup, but not everyone is going to make it onto the lifeboat this time. I think we're going to lose another possibly, well, maybe not. It looks like a second group is kind of forming there to try to bring this whole thing back together. Let's see if we can recombobulate
Look
this
at
group
that
or not.
train, Dave. Look at the splits behind. I mean, it's
So
really
there's three or
suffering
four
out there.
groups. So that's merging group 1 and 2 together. There's a third group really with some stragglers like Battlestar Galactica, those stray vehicles, right, Nathan, that are floating
With
around
three
it.
WLC boys here, I think this is coming back.
Yeah,
I think this is coming
has
back because
to.
they'll work
You
together.
sacrifice a rider. You would sacrifice a rider to get those two back, Nathan, especially with all the points sitting up in that group. All the points are in that group right now. So Wahoo Cole is going to do that. Sub-ideal situation. But they fixed it. So good for them.
Interesting to see, though, Budge off the back now, Wagner off the back, Packers off the back here, Johansson, Wilson. I mean, Tracy here as well, Saintrat. These are big names. They've been dropped off here now. 3 BL13 boys and a WLC no longer involved in that front group. Dave, this is major as far as the points go on the day in the series.
Yeah, I mean, would you expect this course to split up the field as much as it has today? Well, this is the new Zwift, no question. Aggressive racing is being rewarded out here. Nathan, I think this kind of speaks to exactly what I was saying about 15 minutes ago, about how these attacks aren't necessarily breakaways, but what they're doing is dropping huge chunks of riders. That's exactly what just happened there.
Yeah, and this is going to open up opportunity then for breakaways perhaps to get away, because that pack speed is going to slow significantly. You're not going to have as much energy or bodies or just willingness amongst this main group up front to really be able to do any kind of work to bring something back. If somebody gets into committed mode here with 2 laps to go, we might be able to see something stick.
I mean, where's Timothy Rugg, right? Does he have another attack in him? Of course he does. I mean, that seems like a no-brainer to me that Rugg at some point will go, but watch out for Swedish Swifters, and it's certainly BL13. Is the entire BL13 stalking this group right now? I mean, that's not the right word, but are they all sitting in this group, I should say? I think the team's very well represented here, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I wonder if we do have 2 separate BL13
in good shape.
teams out here. I wonder if that may be what's happening. Or
well, there's a similar jersey, right? I think that's part of, you can see how there's the 2 jerseys with the yellow phasing down to a purple, but that's a good example of that right there. 2 different teams that we're looking at. BL13 is the team with Barry, one of our certainly one of my favorites for today, Nathan, to take the win.
Yeah, because you can only show up with 6, right? So I think the reality is here is there is more than 6 riders in here. So I have a feeling there are 2 separate BL13s that will be showing up. I'm going to double check our series standings overall. We'll get those up on screen here in just a moment. But as we make our way around, it does look like Barry has made this front group, and this is going to be one of their strongest riders when it comes to a breakaway situation. I'd really be watching out for Barry.
Gamst as well. I see Michael Gamst right there. This is an interesting group. So there you go. It looks like Wahoo Gold not only positioning, it looks like they're attacking now. So there you go. That's going to be Tim Rugg. There you go. Timothy Rugg on the attack again. So it was inevitable that he was going to go as that group lulled a little bit. So this man has pistons for legs, and looks like a teammate's trying to join him now. Is that going to be? It is Welling, right, for Wahoo Cole? I believe that's the case here. That certainly has the alarm bells ringing here, Nathan. Back to you at 34K into a 50K throwdown in Paris.
Goes to show how long Timothy Rugg has been playing this game.
I think he's trying to launch his teammate.
Zwift. Well, you saw the way that he came through that pack and got an immediate gap, even on his teammate, even though his teammate was further up in the pack. It shows that he knows speed and how to use speed out here on Zwift. Rolled right on through, gapped his teammate even for quite a while. His teammate had to chase really hard. 4.4 watts per kilogram. We do see an insane pressure on the front here coming from Philippe as well as Gamst, not letting this get too far out of control here. 1 second. Going into this downhill, and I'm not sure they're going to hold off the pack because of this downhill, but perhaps they're going to have to really punch it, though.
Yeah, so this is an interesting sector of the course. Maviera is having the TPC route, having a really strong ride out here as well. So this is really challenging for a small group to hold off Peloton with this steep little ramp that drops them down into the tunnel area here. And then the kicker afterwards. So Nathan spoke many times accurately about how speed is how you win out here. Speed is king, and the group will carry more speed into the bottom of that little kicker. And you can see how it's like a roller coaster ride if you're back in the reduced Peloton right now. Go ahead and hit the reset button. It's 35K into this 50K race. This is going to be very interesting, Nathan. So again, Wahoo Lacole playing an active role on the front as Tim Rugg is hit out one more time, but this time the Swedes are reacting. That's going to be Bjorkid, that is one of the riders now that's going to be responding here, although he is starting to open up a little bit of a gap.
Yeah, and I do see 46 kilometers per hour, 45 from the pack. So he's got a little bit of speed on them. He's got to really hold. I mean, this is going to be really tough to hold on to here. 24 meters, not really budging from 24 meters. It's going to be such a frustrating look here as they do see Peter Z rolled in front. Now it goes out a little bit, though. It's going to be about whether or not he can really commit with some speed to this. 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Now it's going to start going up a little bit more if they do not respond.
Yeah, and they're going to. They got plenty of real estate to work with, Nathan, and it's a grinding course here. So I think Rugg is setting the table. I'm guessing, even in his mind, although you never do know. We've seen it happen before. You think of the Leonard Tugels rides, and I've learned not to write off these type of certainly this rugged individual style of racing that Timothy Rugged is a great word for it, actually, because he's definitely a classic old school hard man who's willing to suffer. I'm thinking along the lines of a Jaden Yeager or Caleb Carl, right, Nathan? The guys who just know how to go into suffer mode and leave it there. They're comfortable being uncomfortable, which really have to be. 2 to go, I believe. Isn't that 2 to go from that point?
Yeah,
right.
2 to go, 2 to go at this point. We've got 14K to go. He's got this climbing for him. He's got 7 seconds on the pack, but we're definitely going to start seeing some of these riders making some punches. Here comes Hewid, TPC, trying to come across as he drops an arrow power. Rugg drops an arrow power up.
Yeah, and the other one, obviously, we saw Steamroller out here. There it is. Good, right on cue. These are Steamroller is one of the more interesting and newer-ish power-ups, much like Anvil. It's come into play. It can be very powerful as it turns whatever surface you're on, and you can see cobbles, which have a pretty high rating for friction. You can see that they'll turn it into smooth pavement for you as long as the power-up is in play. Gamification on Zwift has become a bigger part of what we're doing out here, and it's continuing to become. That's the trend. I love it. Here we go. Last 2 laps. Each lap at, let's call it just under 10K, 9.8K in old money. That's about 6.1 miles. So they're coming up pretty quickly on 10 miles of racing out here. It's a long day, though. Really long day, Nathan.
Yeah, one of the longer, I think, races that we'll see in the ZRL over the entirety of all 3 rounds of this season, I would think here. Rugg, I think, is going to hold on again, Dave. This move has been working out for him. This is a lot of FAL points. Really well played so far by him and the rest of WLC. And it's also stringing out the pack so much because they have to chase him so early rather than just pure sprint, which I think is part of the reason why
changes everything.
Completely demolished me in this pack.
Yeah, he's picked up a lot of points. He's done a lot of damage to this group, and he's been fighting on 3 different fronts out here. It looks like they're going to come over the top. That's going to be a Navamule that we're looking at now. So this is going to be BL13 doing what they do.
This
Nathan.
is that's
excuse me.
Yep. They very similar kits.
I apologize.
Look at how similar they are. The only difference is like just the red on the sleeves there. A little bit.
And when they're both riding on the on the purple Tron bikes, it makes it even more of a challenge, right? So this is going to be the Swedish Swifters team. I'm anticipating, Nathan, they become a bigger part of the storyline now that we're down to the final chapters of this book. And you can't ask for more aggressive racing out here on Champs-Élysées today. No doubt about it. Here comes Weir. Now that is BL13 this time. And just stir the pot a little bit here on the front. There goes another attack, however. It might be Peter Z this time.
Yeah, here it comes. It is going to be.
Or it's not.
I believe
TPC.
TEZH Attackus. I'm not sure if that's actually one of the, or if that's going to be a guest rider from that team, but we
Attackus. Yeah. All right. So Steamroller here really is effective, Nathan. It's not the most powerful power up, but it really does make a difference.
Yeah, actually, this is an official team over on Zwift Power. So apologies on that. It looks like
we're still learning. I'm still learning.
I cannot read Spanish, so it's Team Esport Zwift Hispano. Actually, that's the TEZH. Attack us there. Good to see. Love to see it. And
you're now officially on the radar for us. Good job. That's how you do it. Get to the front and do some damage.
Speak Spanish. That's most likely what the the main problem is here. But let's take a look at the current
big part of it. I would agree.
Real quickly, the team league standings, just as a heads up where everything's at so far. The BL13 Watt Bombs have been dominating with the league points so far after the first 3 races are in. And you do see SZ Euler there at 55. It's going to be P to Z at 54. The Punchers Club, 4th. Wahoo Lacole in 5th right now with 49 points. Then a big gap down to Beast Mode presented by Rose Attack. In 6th, it's going to be Leonis Minoria for ESRT. BL3, so there are 2 BL13 teams, just as a heads up, because the Brewers are also out there. Herd of Marmots and Foudre EXO. That is the current situation for the team league standings in the EMEA East Open. Current points as we are out on course here. We haven't had an update on points in a little while. It looks like we're waiting on some of the back end data. So we'll get that as quickly as we possibly can. But with 1 to go, Dave, 1 to go, 1.5 to go, essentially. Are we going to see? I think we're going to see another attack from WLC. I think either WLC is going to give it a go. And my prediction is BL13 have been waiting for the moment to counter just when people are just tired enough. Perhaps. We'll see. Well, P to Z has been watching and waiting to see what everybody else does and is going to wait to the line.
And I mean, in all honesty, that's what makes racing so much fun to watch is how you counter what your opponents are doing out there. Oftentimes we talk about fortune favors the brave. Well, there's brave and there's crazy, right? And these teams definitely right now are certainly going to be at this point looking to make the right move. You can't afford to miss a step at this point in the race. They're going to be down to 1 lap to go here any moment, unless I missed it. I think the arch is just coming up here. So the last Ronde out here on Champs-Élysées, it's a small group. I mean, it's definitely reduced. There you go, Nathan. You called it. Rugg goes. So at 1 lap to go, effectively, Tim Rugg is attacking for probably the 4th time, legitimate 4th attack of this race right now. Michael Gamst is going to respond. The Danish rider here on BL13. The fireworks have just started. The show is on, Nathan.
If there's anybody you want in a breakaway like this, it's going to be Rugg, Gamst, and Wirth. Now, Jorklin coming across too. I mean, this could be the perfect setup. And because we see orange numbers coming from the pack rather than just slow ramp up at 5 watts per kilogram or so, we may actually see this stick. They've got a little bit of a gap. BL13 need to control things at the front here. Gamst goes backwards and gives them the tail here, though. That's not what you want to see in order to try and make this happen. And Gamst is going to allow them to get back on terms, or perhaps just knows this isn't going anywhere at the front. Wirth's just doing work for the pack at this point as they all come back together.
Yeah, boy, and this is how when you realize how strong these guys are, and you take out that sledgehammer and you wail away, and you just can't crack the concrete now. And I think that most of these guys are going to realize that a reduced group sprint is inevitable. But let's see. I mean, are the BL13s or the Wahoo Lacoles, P to Z for that matter? Is anyone going to put resources into trying to blow this up? It looks like Wahoo Lacole's going again, Nathan. It's Rugg again. Relentless racing from Timothy Rugg today for Wahoo Lacole.
I'm wondering what he's going to do on this downhill here. Is he going to actually continue on? There's an arrow power. Wow. What is he doing? I don't even understand. Is he trying to bait something out here and set up his other teammates? It's got to be what's going on. I know Timothy Rugg may not have the best sprint amongst the pack here, so I have a feeling because of that, he's just looking to throw down what his talent is, and that's a pure FTP rider. 6.6 watts per kilogram. Tries to keep the speed high. Here comes the pack, though. They're probably just going to roll right through him, but here comes TEZH attack us now. The Spanish team now trying to come over the top, perhaps. We'll see. Navi Mil as well there. It's going to be Mathis there from Foudre. They're all toward the front, and they're controlling this. WLC not going anywhere. It's not going to work this 7th time for Timothy Rugg. It's essentially been off the front more than he's been in the pack all day.
Yeah, he certainly gets the most aggressive rider award out here today, Nathan, without any doubt at all. Here's the thing. At this point to attack out of this group, when you see that they're moving so fast here, I mean, on this sector, on these cobblestones, they're still clipping along at almost 44 kilometers per hour. So to be able to get any kind of a gap, you have to go so deep into the wattage well that sometimes you can't even bring the bucket back after you make that kind of move. So I think everybody's now going to be a little more conservative here and realizing that there's a lot of points on the line line as we're into the fourth of 6 races. And you can see that there's really 3 teams that are looking to try to make their last run. Timothy Rugg, again, Nathan, he's doing what he can with what he's got from where he is. And certainly it's been impressive to watch. He picks the speed up to almost 50 kilometers per hour as they're on a little bit of a downhill right now. Not really downhill, false, whatever the downhill equivalent of a false flat is.
And do you think Rugg likes to see this? That he wants Gamst and Svensson to come across to him?
He needs 2 people who are willing to commit like he is, and they've got a chance to win this thing this way. I don't know. Michael Gamst almost is 2 people in a lot of ways. There's the third, Swedish Swifter. So this would be the right mix. I mean, it's like just coming across here, but look how small that gap is, Nathan. You can see it is just brutal trying to get away out here when they're carrying that kind of momentum and speed back in the reduced peloton.
Yeah, and the controls really seems to be coming from P to Z so far. P to Z don't necessarily throw anybody up there. They're
really
just continue
stepping up
to keep this under control. And it feels to me, when I've seen them in the sprints as well, they've been winning a lot of these sprints. So I think they know that they've got numbers in just pure kick power.
Yeah, and they're clearly they're trusting in their sprinter. That's what that tells me, Nathan.
Yeah, it does exactly. It looks just like that. It looks like I think they're trusting in a few sprinters from what I've seen so far. We'll see if it.
Well, they believe that they can rush the finale, right? They think that, and I don't doubt them. The way that they're riding, they think they can put 3 in the top 5, 3 in the top 7, kind of thing here, which is really what it's going to take to win today. So many points have already been distributed. There's the hopping Z. I love that guy. So all right, you saw him, right, over on the right hand side?
Oh, yeah, I totally saw him. It was the main thing on, that was my main attraction for just a moment there as far as all the racing goes. Fleet now over
I
the
want
top,
that job at Tour Femme next year. I want that job. So, okay, let's take a look, though, at the action on the front here, because they are just wailing away out here as we go inside of, well, very quickly, we're going to be inside of 6K, less than 4 miles of racing remains here till this one is done and dusted. Nice job on picking up Tony Sid there, the PETA Z rider. This team has been punching above their weight today. They're certainly becoming a big talent team to watch.
Now it is going to go into a little bit less gradient here for just a moment. Usually where the speed really picks up as you look to try and hammer on through the uphill grind to the final segment now. And here comes Hardenberg, 10.2 watts per kilogram, 12 now from Svensson's teammate from SC trying to come over the top. LD's
hardest sector here. Yep, Nathan, you know that's one place if you want to make a difference, you can. And obviously there's going to be some Swedish Swifters celebrating. That was a big moment for them here in their quest to take the day. They just picked up the lion's share of points there at that arch.
2 FAL points. That's a big pickup from them.
That's big. 1-2 there. Yeah, wow.
We're over the top. This is no joke. 6.1 watts per kilogram.
Big danger, man.
Yeah, this is, and going over the top here when everybody's struggling.
Yeah, is this, or is it P to Z coming up? I think it is
P to Z with Weir.
Yep, there you go. So P to Z and BL13 on the front right now with 2 of their biggest talents as they make their way around the Arc de Triomphe. I didn't realize there was a rider off. Oh, actually, that's a lap rider that they're going by, isn't it? Some traffic that they're working their way through right now.
Yeah, and it only found 5.7 watts per kilogram. They're going to need a little bit more than that. That pack behind now is really going to roll through. Now expect the fireworks, though, in this final few K. The reality is that on this downhill, through the couple of sections we're going to see, there are lots of opportunities for some roll-throughs, some sections where you can gain a ton of speed, where riders can use the flat sections to maybe grab a couple of meters and just hold on to the finish line. And with how little riders we have in and amongst this pack, there is some opportunity. We might see riders just looking at each other and saying, I'm not chasing that down. You go get that.
Yeah, which is absolutely what I would advise. But it's certainly, you can see that in this clash going on here into the final 5K, this is really turning into every man for himself. Now, this is going to be the downhill. I honestly, I always think, wow, Champs-Élysées got this much terrain variation, but it certainly does. This is where you really start to look at the speed here. You know, they're going to get close to 60 kilometers per hour at times, 55 kilometers per hour right now as they're this really begins the finale here. This is the setup for what looks like it's going to be a sprint, although you never do know. Can one rider just hold on to win in a solo move or a very small group? And I'm anticipating, Nathan, that everybody gets a crack at a gallop here.
Yeah, I have a feeling that this most likely is going to be a group bunch sprint. I mean, the only thing that we might see here is a little bit of hesitation that allows just enough seconds for somebody who's been sitting in But Rugg, from what I've seen so far, I've seen him able to punch still, but I'm not sure he can hold much more than a 5 to 5.5. So, for the duration of a breakaway at this point, I mean, he's gone so many times. How much can really be left in the tank for an attack?
Yeah, and you know what? To get any kind of to get a 5-second gap, you're gonna have to make 9 watts per kilo for a good minute to see any kind of separation. Here we go. Here's a rider's gonna try. Is it gonna be Philippe? Boy, this is a strong effort for the team we've really been noting out here today. Certainly, they've made a strong move into this really powerful field. TEZH, the Spanish Atacas team. Rugg is there, so Rugg to the front, Nathan. But maybe, yeah, you can see he's sitting right around just over 6 watts per kilo. Red numbers are starting to pop up in this front group. Oh boy, here we go. 3.5K of racing remaining. It's stringing out on the front. Only the strong now are anywhere near the front here, as this is the vanguard of the race. And look at this separation. This is really interesting, Nathan. Really, really interesting finale coming up here. Wow, it looks brutal.
This looks absolutely brutal. 2% gradient now that they're hitting. Whether or not the pack punch over the top of this will be whether or not they bring this back. Will the speed roll through for them? Elding is not on terms just yet. Svensson right in front of him. It does look it's all going to come back together. Svensson, though, going right over the top. Perfect timing. He sees the pack slow down behind, and this is the moment here, Dave. Will he continue? No. He just shuts it down. I think he knows that the rest of his team is sitting in the wings and waiting for that sprint.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think you realize when you're at your absolute limit, boy, there's just only so much you can do. These guys continue to keep the throttle wide open. I mean, we're coming in hot, Nathan. This is like watching the space shuttle burning through Earth's atmosphere right now. Tiles are flying off. Glue is melting. You got to think these riders are going to start to come unraveled here at this point as we're just over 2K until someone gets to punch their ticket as the champion here in race 4 of 6. ZRL in full effect. All right, this is going to be really quite a finish.
Rugg doing what he's done so far, controlling the front or off the front.
Rider of the day, right? I mean,
100%.
Nathan, right? Yeah, he made this day bananas, and he's done all his damage. Can he actually get up onto the podium? Oof, man.
If he does, I mean, that is going to be an insane effort from Timothy Rugg. We'll see how it plays out here as it's going to be the roll through. BL13 have been sitting in the wings so far. I've just seen them following wheels, playing it smart. It's really going to be between them, I believe, and this P2C team. But SC also here. Quick look at the standings as we head into it here. BL13, SC, P2C, Punchers Club, WLC. Those are the 3 teams really to be watching out for. Maybe Beast Mode going to be making some moves later on. But here we go, Dave. It's already ramping up and out of here. They're taking on that speed out of the underground. Gamps now making the first move.
Here comes Wahoo. Wahoo Nicole looked to me like they were surging out of this group, but there's only so much surging you can do when the speed is at 50 kilometers per hour. So this is it. Finale time. The attacks are coming. There's old school fury on display right now. That's going to be Wagner, Gamst. It looks like Sorensen has made his way up there. This is going to be Wagner that we're looking at as they rapidly come up on 1K to go. 1 kilometer of racing in this slugfest going on Champs-Elysees right now.
Wagner's got 10 meters, now 8 meters. Philippe is cutting it down now real quickly for his TEZH team. It's going to be Tony Sid there as well for the P2Z, leading things out. 3 up toward the front now, but who's sitting in those wheels just behind there? That's really what you need to be watching out for.
That's the sweet spot. Right, I would say position 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's probably where you want to be, although we've read it wrong before. These guys continue to push here on the front, having a teammate with you, and that's exactly what's going on there. That's BL13 now. Let's see what they can do. P2Z. Oh, boy, Nathan, you can see the team assembling here. Amazing that they're able to come together. That's it. There it goes. That's going to be Thomas Berry hitting out with authority. This one is going to be punishing. This one, and Nathan is now done and dusted. BL13 and Berry for the win.
Berry, Hoost, Yorkland across the line.
Sick.
That's the 1, 2, 3. Oh my goodness.
That's
BL13 just showed us how it's done. What a move by them. This is going to be the main chase back. Look how much time they put into them here, Dave. They're not even around the downhill section yet here for
they're a different race at this point, right?
Completely different race. Well, I mean, that front group was flying. We'll take a look at replay here in just a moment, but BL13, they played it smart, Dave. That was exactly what we had talked about. They sat in the wheels and they waited and patiently picked this one apart.
a team develops over time, right? And they've made some aggressive. There's always going to be that classic moment that BL13 had a couple seasons ago where they basically team time trialed off the front and caught the entire peloton off guard. They're winning in different ways. They're a very strong team with multiple weapons at their disposal, and they've really matured. They really are in that conversation with the next presented by Ensures now, Nathan. I think you've got the other finale coming in, though, now. They're down to 1K to go. There's still going to be a lot of points on the line here.
We're actually
Well,
looking at a
there'll still be
replay here.
some
Replay,
points.
replay
Oh,
here, Dave,
replay.
real
I'm sorry.
quickly. Yeah, no worries. No
My
worries
bad.
there. And it is
Yep.
going to be rug, it looks like, here. That did lead things out a little bit for Barry. Barry waited perfectly. He's all the way back in about 10th. Look at him come from the middle of the pack. Boom. Perfectly over the top of that 1% gradient. There's a little downhill, roll through, and then bam, on
He
the
knew
downhill
exactly what
through
he was
1% negative there. 194 beats per minute with the arrow power up. Juiced. Trying to chase down his teammate, but look at the gap he opened up with that speed from the pack. I mean, there was so much room for him to work with there.
Yeah, that's not a photo finish, is it? You could use a sundial to time that finish. That was certainly a gap that will be remembered as one of the more definitive wins here of week 4 of 6. So still a lot of racing ahead for these guys, but BL13 making a bit of a statement, I'd say, here today in Paris in our EMEA East Open Division 1 group here. So strong group. Tough to win out of it. You could see how effectively they eliminated that field down to, Nathan, it was probably around 35, 40 riders that made the final peloton, the final selection today.
Yeah, it's a good call out there. How many riders did make that final selection?
I think more than
like
30.
I think it was like 35, about 35 or so.
Right.
Yeah, 35 or so.
So it's a small group all in all for this course. Back in the day, it probably would have been, more like 50 riders, but they race so aggressively now. And you can see that so many riders believe in their chances, and people like Timothy Rugg do extensive damage. I'm sure the French National Guard is wondering who this Timothy Rugg guy is that's tearing apart the Champs-Élysées right now.
We'll take a quick 5-minute break, everybody. Yeah. Quick 5-minute break, everybody. We'll be right back for more racing. The Women's West is coming right up. We'll have we'll be here with you for that. We're in the last couple of with about 2 minutes in the pen. See you in about 5.
Okay.
Don't go anywhere. And we're just going to jump right down into the pens, everybody, as the ladies are warming up for the European, Middle Eastern, Africa, EMEA West. As we get a look here at the Socks for Watts, Kat Haynes lining up on the front row here. It looks like WLC, G. Paul is out here as well. KRT, the KISS Racing Team, Electric Spirit Company, Katie Loker, I believe, is out here as well. Things are about to get heated up here. Charlotte Backus here, Dave, making her way to the front. This is a solid crew of women we're about to watch kick off out on the Champs-Elysees. 50K of racing, Dave. It's going to be a long one here for these ladies.
Yeah, as we were talking about with the men, it's certainly a long day, but racing's been so aggressive out here. You really got to stay on your toes. So, yeah, very quickly, the details here. It's 7 laps on the Champs-Elysees. There's a lot of sprinting, fastest through segments, so points galore before we get to the finish, where obviously the Lionesses share the points will be waiting. But such a talented field. I expect some big selections will be made. Attacks on lap 1 are almost inevitable out here. It's not even maybe an attack, Nathan, necessarily with the ultimate outcome being winning the race. It's much more about attacking, looking at the bonuses that you've got along the way here with so many points to be distributed.
It does change things up. Let's talk a little bit about this, Dave, with the fastest through segment being on the same segment every single lap. It really changes things up as far as the FAL and their availability, I think.
100%. And it's so, and that's another thing too. You know, you can't go for fastest through segments, Nathan, every lap, right? You want to time it. It's almost like you want to see if other people, what they're doing, and if you can work off of and try to piggyback off of their efforts to get it for yourself, because you really can't just pull this off alone out there. It's very, very complicated, I think, when you look at the dynamics behind picking up fastest through segments versus first across the line, which is really just a straight up throwdown sprint that you're looking at out there. And that's part of the charm of what WTRL and Martin and Steven have brought to the racing here, is trying to give every rider an opportunity. It's become more and more the case in esports racing, where we're trying to give almost isolate different riders out and give them a chance to get some points. And that was really a big part of what the thought was with fastest through segment, which is also unique in that it updates throughout the race. So it's really hard to say what lap it will happen on, but just because you've got the fastest through segment early in this event here, 50 kilometers of racing with 7 laps, it doesn't mean necessarily that you're going to have it at the end, as if someone does come along and better that time, well, they'll take it away from you.
Quick look here at the team standings for this league. Again, we are in the EMEA Women's West A category. As you can see, it's going to be Cryogen Stelvio. Toyota Priority T here at the top with 57 points. SZ Trude, they're sitting at 54. Electric Spirit Co. Chancellor at 49 points. Wahoo Lacole is out here as well in 4th place, just 1 point behind them. It's going to be Sock for Watts. Astro Unicorns there in 5th right now, 1 point behind them as well. Very close racing. And just 1 point behind them, Team Castelli, presented by Elite Women in 6th. And then there's Wahoo Lacole as well with WA3, and there's WA2. So West A2 and West A3 in 7th place there. It's going to be Roca Corba Collective A and 8th, Synergy Heat in 9th, and KRT A Rockets at 33 points in 10th place right now. Dave, it's definitely a who's who group out here for the women out of the West. But there's also the East that is finishing up their race at the moment, I believe. With just a half a lap to go, that they are an hour and 3 minutes into their race, the E-Star right now. So that's giving you an idea with a half a lap to go, how long this race is going to be. See, I believe I got you on mute there, Dave, just as a heads up.
It's longer than an hour of, as you just said, of an intense effort out here. So this is one of the longer days in the saddle for these athletes in the modern racing world here, as the events have typically, and again, I like the variety for sure, but definitely races of a shorter, more intense duration. So this one isn't shorter, but it's still intense. Although right now it looks like Electric Spirit Company is starting to move their troops up to the front here, Nathan. That's the white and orange kit here that you can see starting to assemble now. Always going to be interesting.
Yeah, and this first kick up and over the top of this climb.
That's Katie Loker's team. Yeah.
It's gonna tell us a lot, I think, with Electric Spirit Co. and what they've got to bring to the table out here today. with them sitting in third place and a pretty big gap between themselves and second place with SZ, and then Cryogen all the way up there with 57 points. Today's going to be a day that they're going to really want to show up and take a win, I think. Any of these teams that are in that third through sixth place, they all have to see an opportunity out here today because this is a very different kind of race than what we've seen from the rest of the first 3 races so far.
Yeah, you're leaning heavily on your endurance specialists, the riders that can do the intense efforts, but for an extended amount of time as we roll by Scotty, the infamous Scotty the Squirrel, and the Hopping Z. That's definitely a cool part of the course right here out on Champs-Élysées. So you can see about a little bit of a gradient here, 2% uphill. I think the women are a little more conservative at this point now, Nathan, than what we saw from the guys. You're talking about some of the big names. Katie Loker's one of the biggest out there at this point. Wahoo Coles brought the A team, including Lauren Langham taking the start. Katy Perry is here for Wahoo Cole as well. Their Irish rider, Joe Patterson. The Swiss star, Katrin Fuhrer, is also in the mix. And Zoe Langham, Nathan, has taken the start today. And I'd have to say that Zoe, in the last year, has been one of the biggest stars. Let me turn it back to you. This is going to be the mighty Coralie.
Look at the
Coralie Arthur in the field. I'd love to see this. The Scottish wonder for what. Look at what Wahoo Cole's doing. Oh, Nathan. Oh, my gosh. Heads up. This is a big moment right here. Coralie lit the fire.
Coralie lit the fire.
Cole.
Furr comes over the top. Lindsay Cassie's there as well. Coralie hanging on. It's going to be Langham there. And Zoe, the sisters going neck and neck. Wahoo Cole.
This is the
dominating so far.
Oh, man. This is the all-star Wahoo Cole. Nathan, I'm so glad that you were able to select this group to watch race today. So many of our favorites from the last couple of seasons. I mean, Coralie Arthur is a lifestyle in and of herself. What a cool person. Zoe Langham, one of the biggest stars that we've really seen develop, and she's just had a meteoric rise to the top. Lauren Langham, her sister, with the Swedes, or actually, excuse me, is this going to be Cryo now coming up and over the top? Because let's see if anybody wants to counter that bold move there from Wahoo Coles. They gobbled up the lion's share of the points, no doubt about it. It's done extensive damage. Well, Nathan, I was just saying at 3K in that it was relatively calm. Well, throw that out the window. Here you go. Not calm at all now.
I mean, we've got a break already happened in Fairweather. They're trying to get back on terms, it looks like. Deborah there from KRT
It'll be a long
as well.
50K. Long 50K racing with this much ferocity out here.
Yeah, you can see that. It looks like as we are going to have Fuhrer from WLC. She was the all-star, actually, in the Grand Prix, as you saw.
Yeah, really strong. Uh-huh. Catherine, you're talking about, the Swiss rider on Wahoo Cole.
100%. That was the rider with really a breakout ride that we haven't really seen a whole lot for her from Wahoo Cole, and all of a sudden, bam, on the scene. And here she is now back toward the front, and she took down that sprint. I mean, over and over again in the first, in the Okio for that first Go parkour, she was just a force to be reckoned with, and now she's showing up here in the community, showing us exactly the same kind of power.
Yeah, really, certainly going to be one of the riders we'll keep a close eye on. You see Guxipal there, the German flag right in the middle of the group. That's a rider to watch as well, as we've got so many talented riders on different teams now. We were talking about Socks for Watts. I see Donna Watts has taken the start out here today, but on that Socks for Watts, well, there's really 2 Socks for Watts teams racing here today. But Paul is one of the few riders that makes over 10 watts per kilogram for her sprint. We know that obviously Katie Loker, infamously Ms. 14 for her 14 watt per kilo sprints. But Valentina Panuega, the Team Castelli rider, Nathan, the Venezuelan, is Valentina is also way up there, and I want to see making sure there she is. Oh, excuse me, that is the Hungarian flag that I'm looking at. I'm looking for Valentina, but I think she should make this selection.
Yeah, I'm looking through here to see if we can find the rider from the Castelli team. Team Castelli, it is going to be Rico here. We'll keep an eye out for him. And it looks like Charlotte Back is giving a little bit of a chatter in game there, saying let's work together. I have a feeling probably a part of a chase group, but it does look like this is going to be a chase group. 12 seconds back at this point. Martin there from Socks for Watts. It's going to be Electric Spirit as well. that is in here. It looks like plenty of Soxer Watts riders here, so they're going to be working together most likely to see what they can pull back. But after being dropped off on the first lap, most likely going to be more about what they can handle amongst these riders. I wonder if there's a lot of points available for them yet.
Yeah, I wanted to correct myself, Nathan. It's Colombia for Valentina Paniagua that I was talking about, not Venezuela. Those flags are pretty close to me. So, but they're Colombia, her home nation. So, Angela Pitzer here out of Denver, Colorado, Wahoo Cole rider. Really great spirit and a tremendous amount of experience as well. She's an old school rider. I mean, old school in Zwift World Esports only puts you back to about 2015. 2016, but it's so it's not as old school as the rap world, right? But still, she was there kind of when things all got going. Was one of the original U.S. national champions in Zwift esports.
100% correct. Always one to watch out for. Depending on what her form's
Fun
like
racer.
at any kind of time,
Yeah.
definitely a rider to watch out for and a good pickup for WLC. 10 seconds back for that chase group. They might get back on terms, but it's going to be probably right as things start to ramp up again.
Yeah, Wahoo Cole looks like they're just kind of, again, this is a sign of a very confident team. They ride together a lot, Nathan, which is something it's very hard to do in esports. And here we go. This has everybody's heckles rising now because you can see they're moving back to the front. So that's a call to action for everyone else. This group is reduced here. They've made it hard, and it's going to get harder at this point. There's Zoe Langham poised to pounce like a panther.
And we are seeing there's a group of 10 seconds. Come on, ladies, we can catch. We're hearing there from some encouragement from a few others. That is going to be Claire from the KRT team, and she is trying to get back on terms. I wonder if anybody maybe in this group had a little bit of inattention, and that's why they fell off there. I mean, the reality of what WLC did at that first sprint, I think, really ramped the speed up. Maybe and that jump, that pounce that they had at the most crucial moment, most likely caught a few ladies perhaps off guard there.
Wow, no kidding. This is again, you have to stay on your toes out here. These women are very, very aggressive, and once you fall out of the draft, we've learned how hard it is to get back in. We were talking about that in the previous race. You really can't put yourself in that situation. Even though Wahoo Cole's happy to tail gun in this group, they certainly don't let those gaps open up. So they ride smart, and right now they try to take full advantage of the draft. So I really would even point to them, Nathan, as showing confidence, patience, everything that champions need to have that champion standard applied is happening there. This has got to be the most dangerous sprinter out here with the experience that she brings to racing as well. Katie Loker, Electric Spirit, Nathan, that you're focusing in on, is we're just coming in on one lap into each lap at about 9.8K, about 6 miles, actually. And we're coming up on that quickly here. 1 of 7 done.
Looking really quickly here at whether or not Katie really gave what she's got to throw down so far on her 15-second or so. She did give a fairly good effort. It looks like up at 13 point. We'll have to double check some of these numbers here real quickly and make sure I've got this correctly. So 4.5 watt per kilogram average. I think her personal best is a 13.4, so almost 14 watts per kilogram. So Katie Loker, definitely one to watch out for. I'm not sure that she threw everything at that. Perhaps seeing what Wahoo Cole were doing, maybe allowing them to do what they were going to do, also, and waiting for something a little bit later in here to sweep up some points.
Well, knowing also, I agree completely, Nathan. And you don't want to throw good money after bad. And the way that Wahoo Cole rode that previous sprint, it really wasn't worth it to burn a whole bunch of matches to get up there for a 3rd or 4th place, which was probably, get a little caught off guard, certainly well timed. And credit where credit is due. WLC does a tremendous job, but sometimes it's better to save your bullet for another fight. And I have a feeling that that's what Katie Loker's doing. Is she knows I've got probably 4 or 5 monster sprints in me. I'm not going to use one of them to try to salvage a 4th. I'll save that for a win a little bit later. If that makes sense. You only get what 6 bullets to start with. Some riders only get a bullet or 2. Right? So I think Katie realizes there's 8 different targets. I'll save it.
Yeah, taking a look at the board right now, you do see a super domination from WLC so far, but there's a lot of racing to go. That's only lap 1, Dave, right? So we'll see how this plays out throughout the rest. Corley Arthur there with that FAL.
Look how 2 teams. Well, really, it's only 3 teams even on the board, right? Swedish Zwifters, getting up there as well. That's an interesting top 10, isn't it?
Really is. Now we are heading into the sprint again here. Here comes the uphill section. Loker sitting in, it looks like 5.0 watts per kilogram, starting to ramp things up just a tad. Now to the front, it is going to be Toyota Cryo DT, the first ones to make a move, and that is going to be Harris. Now, right alongside her is going to be her teammate Nielsen Haynes on the wheel for Sox for Watts. Rico, Team Castelli on the far left-hand side there, as you do see the light blue kit. We also have another Team Castelli with Cabot now making her way to the front there, the Canadian rider. But it's pretty calm, actually, Dave. They're kind of watching each other here. This isn't a ramp-up. This is actually just a sit and wait and push.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Valentina, the Colombian rider, can do here. She's the Castelli rider. This is going to be the Cryo RDT team that we're looking at, Toyota Cryo. The sprint's already begun, as it looks like we are launching things here, Nathan.
Yeah, Holden. Now, off
Draft
the
rider.
Here comes Zoe. But here's Loker. That's what we were waiting for from Katie Loker here now, as she throws down that arrow power up over the top. 9 watts per kilogram coming from her. And Langham holding on. This is great to see. Langham versus Loker. That's what we've been waiting for, I think. There's Yardies there as well. Now, it looks like Corley Arthur also involved. Hermanson there from
SC. It wasn't bad for
Wahoo.
Yeah, I mean, they had 3 riders, I think, in the top 6. So even though it wasn't with quite the flourish that they had in the opening sprint, they still picked up the line as a decent amount of points there that should still have them in the lead. I think if we it's a little bit too much to ask that so quickly, but I have a feeling that they're still right at the top of the table, but now that counterattack. So Katie Loker also there showing herself now. We anticipated that was coming. That's hardly a surprise to see that Loker's up there throwing down now. This has gotten, look at that, Nathan. There's a group of about 7 riders, it looks like to me, who might not rejoin contact. This is a big moment. They're trying to slam the door shut at the back of the group. I think they're just going to get back in. Does everybody make it? Woo, man, this is not fun this early in the race to have to fight like this.
Ooh, and the speed's going out. Yikes. You can see the speed going out, and Steve red alert, backwards for her. Ridney trying to get on terms. She's probably smashing her handlebars right now, saying, "Why didn't you hold that wheel?" Because look at how quickly that just rolled away. The moment that Steve went down to 2.8, bam, that pack is gone. And Ridney was trusting. She had 4.2 still to go. She could have came around just a little earlier to grab Gilbert's wheel. Didn't happen, and they're gone.
See, that's it, Nathan. It's a razor's edge, right? That moment. It's animal instinct. And I think I've seen another attack going from electricspirit.co. And it's going to be covered here. These ladies, though, are having at it right now. This is awesome racing. That was Gilbert, for electricspirit.co that was starting to animate things. I think it settles down for a moment now, but it's only a matter of time until another attack gets launched here, as this is frenetic racing on Champs-Élysées out here in the early going 7 laps today. Each lap just under 10K each. And they're already racing so aggressively, but Katie Loker inserts herself into the conversation with that last very powerful sprint, while Hula Cole remains very attentive here, Nathan. They're having a tremendous ride as a team, as a unit today.
Yeah, they're really showing that they've got the tactics. Time
and again,
they are the ones. Their DS, I think, is one of the best when it comes to. I mean, and I think at this point they've got multiple DSs that have learned from. It's kind of just a brand at this point that they just know how to throw down when it comes to the tactics, when to make the attacks happen. We saw it in the last race. Rug off the front over and over again, baiting things out. They were able to grab a ton of points, it looked like, in that last race because of it. I'm wondering who actually took down the series standings so far. Like, not the series standings, but that race specifically today. I would be, we saw Barry with that late attack. BL13 and the Watt Bombs, I think, had a really good race, but I think it may be close with the way the WOC played that. We'll have to go back and take a look when we get the calculations coming through. But WOC showing up in both of these races today.
And that's really the key to success in esports is having, there's something about the spirit of having a men's team and a women's team, all of the different levels of racing as well. Toyota Cryo does a tremendous job with that. It seems to me, Nathan, like all of the teams that are successful actually have the feeder squads and build that camaraderie and have a micro community amongst the Zwift community. That's been really the keynote or the cornerstone of Zwift success. Here's an attack. It looks like, or at least one rider moving up to the front and picking up the pace here a bit.
Yeah, that's gonna be
It might be Lauren
T.
Langham. And no, I apologize. It's not.
Yeah, it's gonna be Gamst, I believe. Of course, it's Gamst. It's Gamst across
Luis
both.
Gamst.
I
Both
love
of
it.
the Gamps have been very, very active today. Michael, her partner, and now it's Luis's turn to have at it. She's been one of the premier members of Stelvio Toyota Cryo RDT for a long time. This is a legend that's attacking here early going. Much like Timothy Rugg in the men's race earlier, this is going to do damage.
What I love about this is, it's so reliable when it comes to the Gamst family and just putting on a
Making
show.
races exciting.
Right? Like, who's out the front? It's probably the
mod.
last name Gamst. Within this last 2 hours of broadcasting, you could roll the dice pretty well and bet on Gamst is off the front.
Either Gamst or Rugg. It's their family motto should be making races exciting since 2015 or whenever they started. But they both are very much raced with the same style. It's a spirited style of racing. Zoe Langham with the broken collarbone racing. She's fierce. There's no doubt about it. Carol Langham, thank you, Nathan. Nice catch there. I have a feeling Carol might be mom.
Yeah, I would not be surprised or something along those lines.
That's a mom comment, right?
Yeah, that's a good call out there, Dave. Good call out there, Dave. And thanks a lot for tuning in and cheering on the ladies out here today. And I did see that Zoe. I did see on her socials that there was a recent injury and obviously a broken collarbone then. And look at what she's able to do though, jumping right back on the bike. I think I had a little back and forth chat with her, just encouraging her whether or not she was going to be back out there. And it had a lot to do with the fact that her sister was racing. I was like, is this your sister? Bam, sure enough, it's her sister. And coming back from the broken collarbone. And obviously that's happening just fine. And she's out here taking points as sitting right now in this main group alongside her sister and rest of WLC.
So the last couple seasons, Zoe just came, I wouldn't say out of the woodwork, but was immediately one of the best in the world and, was showing up at the highest level and more than holding her own. And her sister, Lauren, now, you're right, Nathan. It's good to hear confirming that Lauren is the sister. That's hardly a surprise. Also, you know what? I'm so busy trying to keep up with what Coralie Arthur's doing, right? That it seems like I'm just overwhelmed on Instagram. Coralie, just an unbelievably fun person to follow. I think she's swimming all of the Scottish locks, doing charity rides on her bike, and is definitely, as I was saying earlier, someone who just has quite a lifestyle. It looks like one of their riders, is that Coralie right there at the back of the group, just dangling off?
Good question. I just saw her a moment ago.
Trying to get a cat off of her keyboard or something. Maybe for a second.
She's right back up in it. Playing some aim labs off the back because she was doing 1.5 watts per kilogram, so was not concerned one bit and just rolled right back in.
Not worried. No. Angela does a lot of mountain biking on that Wahoo Lacole team. She lives in Denver, Colorado. She's got access to some really great trails around her. So like yourself, Nathan, she's a mountain bike enthusiast who Zwifts like crazy.
16.2K in, Dave. We've got sprint number
3
coming up. We haven't even done half the sprints yet, Dave. This is
got a lot of racing today. So how many more? So what do you think? Again, electricspirit.co. That's the team in orange and white. Does Katie Loker go for everyone from here on in, Nathan? Can she? What about Valentina Paniagua, the Colombian? I'd like to see her get herself into the mix. Although I haven't seen her name for a little while, she might have gotten caught behind one of those splits. You got to keep the high-level Zwift craft going to even be. Just because you can make the power, Nathan, doesn't mean you're in this group. You know that.
Yeah, what's interesting is that Katie definitely has the best 15
I don't see her. I don't think she's here.
This group, looking through for Valentina.
That light green, I would even call it Bianchi, Celeste green, right? That's the new Castelli kit for formerly Team Italy. And they do have a few riders in this group, but I'm not seeing the rider that we're discussing right now, which is Valentina Paniagua. She makes 13.7 watts per kilo, which is insane. Katie Loker listed at 13.4. Again, your numbers may vary at home, as they say.
Hannah Russell calls her Miss 14. She must have seen something somewhere.
At some point, she's probably, yeah. That's respect there. Only, I'm going to say 5 or 6 riders can make over 10 watts per kilo in what we have listed in Zwift Power out here, and she's well over that. So, and she's also a very, very savvy racer. I mean, she's there when it matters. She knows how to keep a charge on her battery for sure. This is Boccalini that we're looking at, Team Castelli rider here. We talked about power ups today. You're going to see steamrollers. You're going to see aero helmets. This is going to be Hannemanson going big. And now she's got the aero power up. So she's really slick and some points to be scored. Nathan Wahoo Cole's going to get up there and grab some more. Again, they're not taking
Did we
them all.
miss a breakaway? Where did we miss this? These two are off the front, Dave.
Holdcroft off the front.
Yeah,
I
know, me too.
Holdcroft
so Gamston, Holdcroft held on. I didn't realize that's 100% my fault. I thought
first
they were
and second there, then in that order. Yep, my bad.
We got a little bit distracted there for a moment. Langham looking to go across. It looks like here, not going to be able to make it happen. But Holdcroft and Gamst opened up a
look what it's doing,
15-second gap
to that group,
and they might hold on to this, Dave. That's a big gap.
So they might hold on for another lap. They might hold on for 2. They might hold on to the finish. I mean, who knows right now? A lot is in play here as they make their way around the Arc de Triomphe. Fantastic moment right now. Coralie Arthur's leading the chase. Wahoo Lecole is responding. That sprint that we thought we saw was really for third on, and this is going to blow this group to bits, absolutely to bits. That's going to be, I think, Katie Loker getting up there. We're going to see a little bit of regrouping. They got to keep pushing through, though. Although I'm not going to freak out, Nathan. That gap is not large enough that I think that this break is gone for the day. But there's enough horsepower back here and all of Wahoo Lecole that they can chase this back. But it certainly is going to require some attention here. It's not. This is not an imminent threat to me.
No, I do not believe it is an imminent threat, but we are seeing that these two off the front at 5 seconds are backing off. They do realize, I think, that the rest of this
just a bit much. It's a tough row to hoe.
Yeah, 100%.
Tough row to hoe, buddy. Yeah, I mean it. But I love where their head is at. Looking for that opportunity, that crack in the armor. But Wahoo Lecole, you know what you really saw there, Nathan, was an attentive Wahoo Lecole team. They realized, all right, we're not going to mess around with this. We still have a lot of racing, 31K to go. But why let this turn into a 25-second gap and then have to put all of our resources into chasing? I think we just deal with it now. Pay me now or pay me later mentality. They went with pay me now.
Looking at Castelli here, 3.2 watts per kilogram. Nevin Massey now toward the front. Draft now taking over a little bit of the chase. Not really a chase, just some roll throughs and trusting the speed. It looks like they know this is going to come back. They make the catch here at the bottom of this, and it's all done. I have a feeling that the two off the front most likely just backing off, knowing that they are going to be consumed by this pack at this point. You know, we do see a little bit of push from Hillcroft here. Now, maybe one last effort to hold on. But I think somebody, look at the pack completely spread across, and the speed is just too high.
Yeah, this is the inevitability of this catch being made. But they keep turning the legs over, although they're obviously not burying themselves at this point. But, note that Synergy rider Holdcroft is on a good day today. I think that's a solid indicator that she certainly brought her A game and is ready to race as we make our way by the grandstand here. Again, thanks for joining us. We're into race number 4 of 6 of this ZRL season. So we're well into it now. They've done the team time trial. We're into one of the longest, I would even say, just, overall, you look at your, the effort that you're making, over an hour of racing before this one is done and dusted. You can see we're just coming up on half an hour in. 7 laps on a challenging course, aggressive racing. This is a day that certainly leaves its mark here in this season.
Yeah, looking at CryoGen Stelvio really controlling this, the Toyota CryoDT team there, and they are the current league leaders out here, and they've got a hefty lead over the top of the rest of the standings right now. So with 57 points, 3 points ahead of SZ. Electric Spirit Co. there. Electric Spirit, I'm not sure that they've grabbed, though, the kind of points that they need to really represent that third place so far. I think Wahoo Lecole are the ones looking to make the biggest jump out here today, but it is early days still. We still got 30 carry racing to go. Lots of points up for grabs yet.
there's just enough time left in the season that I could see Wahoo Cole making a run for the win. So it's far from over. Obviously, the command position there at King of the Hill is going to be Cryogen Stelvio. But yeah, I mean, when you look at it, so this is the old point structure. I know that we've changed with our Zwift Grand Prix on Fridays, Nathan, to more of something that closer to what F1 does rather than that 1 point linear increment that we see here. And it gives you a chance for teams to make bigger jumps later in the season. But here, so Wahoo Cole is going to have to continually take top points, which is 20 per race, while actually, so we're into the fourth. So yeah, you can see that 60 would have been the maximum number of points that any team could have after the team time trial there. 57. So that's the equivalent of getting second every week out there so far for Stelvio, and that consistency puts them on top. But you got Swedish Swifters through it right there too. So a lot can still happen here, especially with the way Wahoo Cole and Electric Spirit Company are riding, Nathan. It's going to be interesting. I certainly wouldn't just hand it. I wouldn't start carving in Cryogen Stelvio yet into the trophy.
Harris looking to carve them off the front right now. 120 RPM and 160, 170 beats.
Carving off some watts, right?
Using that power up there. She's got the steamroller. She got 1 second over the top of them, 43 kilometers per hour right now. That's 40 kilometers per hour on the front.
You a fan of the steamroller, Nathan? Do you like its effectiveness out there? It's one of those power-ups that seems like it's become a little more popular recently.
Yeah, this power-up, a lot of people think is just too strong when it comes to the dirt.
It gets some hate for being too good.
Oh, this is WLC.
I hear that all the time myself.
Look at this. Look at this, Dave. Full team time trial. This is Leroy Jenkins move. Everybody's all in. Are they just going to look the team time trial off the front?
Nightmare. This is like having Freddy Krueger and Chucky at your door. This is a big, big problem. One of the greatest moments could be happening in esports history. We've talked about BL13 doing this, Nathan. Great catch. This is going to be interesting. The entire team has hit out now like the Pony Express. They're gone. This is incredible. I don't know what we're seeing here now, Nathan. I don't know if this is foreboding for what's going to be an absolutely insane final half hour of this race. Never seen anything quite like this. That is the entire team. All 6 riders for Wahoo Cole have gone clear together. They've got a gap. Ladies and gentlemen, this is bananas.
I'm not sure that anyone can even chase this down with the kind of power that they have on the front.
How could you even pull this off? How could you even orchestrate this, Nathan? I mean, this is absolutely insanity, mental, chicken oriental going on right now here on Zwift Esports.
Lindsay Cassidy on the front here. Coralie Arthur point through at 5.7 watts per kilogram. And the chase has no choice but to put...
They don't know what to... This is nuts.
They have to put 6 watts per kilogram on the front, but they have to sacrifice themselves for all the other teams, right? Like all the teams have to agree.
Well, the only thing you don't have to worry about is you're not going to bring any Wahoo Cole riders up to the break.
They're all there.
All in it. They're all the break. I've never seen this before. Not even BL13 has to say respect to this. I don't know if this is going to make it. I don't even know what I'm seeing. I feel like I'm living in an alternate universe right now. I didn't think this was possible.
Ooh, you got to, you guys, companion app, use your trash can or push down and use the trash can, guys. You just area affected your own
Throw it
team.
Away.
You got to throw it away. You got to throw it away. Ooh, that hurts.
They would say
that hurts. Yeah, that one hurts.
They're going to recover. That was a bummer moment because without that, this is even another second up the road, but they still got a huge gap. They're going to reorganize here. They were able to come through. Not many teams could survive that kind of a Zwiftcraft hiccup, but do all 6 continue on?
I think with the gap they have, I think it's worth it with 6 off the front
Coralie
with the downhill.
Arthur, man. I'd wait for Coralie all day long. She's got just such a great engine here. I think these ladies are racing much like yourself, Nathan. They're just really, really throwing everything at it. This is what I absolutely love this. This will go down as a historic moment. Without any doubt, these ladies have just gone completely ballistic. They planned this. I mean, this is obviously something that doesn't just happen by chance. This was well orchestrated. And now you're going to see how these teams respond. We've just hit the midway point of this race. Nathan, don't you feel like history is being made right now?
Definitely. Now they need to really commit to over the top of this year, though, because they're coming
Holdcroft
across.
is the
Look
one
at
rider.
this.
It's going to
Look
be
at all these
caught.
arrow
It's
power
coming
ups. Look
back.
at all these arrow
They
power ups.
all
It's
work
going to get
together.
caught. Oh man, and it looks like it's going to be this last ditch to the line. 1, 2, 3. They hold on to 3. They hold on to 1, 2, and 3. It looks like there for the
just
FALs.
for the show. So Nathan, that was very similar to if planet Earth is attacked by aliens. As nations, we all have to come together, right? So in this role, the Wahoo Lakol are the aliens, and all of the nations, it's the United States and India and Russia and China and France, and everyone needs to come together. All the other teams did. They cooperated, and they resolved what was not a good situation for every team outside of Wahoo Lakol. That was really, really fun to watch. Really, chapeau to Wahoo Lakol. That was a fun esports moment.
That was amazing to see.
Really,
and,
really rad.
They were able to grab some FALs at this point, and
I'm glad they got paid.
Can they fool him again?
Paid.
Can they fool him again is going to be my question.
No.
Like,
I don't think Holdcroft will fall for that one again. You know what I mean? So as I was saying earlier in the broadcast, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, right? And I think if you get caught up by that one again, then you need to work on your Zwiftcraft, because that was really brilliant, but it's like a magician pulling a rabbit out of the hat. You can't just keep doing the same trick.
Halfway through this race, 25K to go.
You didn't like my alien analogy, huh?
No, it was a great analogy. It definitely was.
All right.
Cassie,
I thought maybe you were on the alien side and you felt like I was dissing the aliens or something. There's a lot of different points of view.
WLC essentially, I mean, they were just they came from outer
they went
space,
alien mode.
To me. Yeah, they went full alien mode. It seemed to me, but
does this race settle down for a little bit, Nathan? After that, I mean, typically in your experience, you've been involved in many of these jailbreaks. After that catch is made, is everybody happy to just chill for a few K?
It depends on what kind of a team that you're a part of.
It's honestly a good time to counterattack, to be honest, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
It's a great time to, people are going to be in the hurt locker trying to recover.
And they think it's going to calm down, which is a great time. When the guards are taking their tea break is a great time to attack.
What happened here as far as the riders, though? I mean, Pitzer is off the back. Fairweather off the back here. RCC here was Sendel. This is 25 riders left, Dave. The 28,
wow.
Excuse me, 28 riders left in this main pack.
Nathan, I mean, I've said it a million times. It's just so true. Racers make the race. We could have them racing around a parking lot on flat ground, and they'd still, if they wanted to, make things absolutely crazy. This course even brings out, it amplifies the action out there. It gives you something really to work with. And when you add in the fastest through segments, the fastest across the line, these elements that WTRL's introduced into ZRL racing. So WTRL is World Tactical Racing League. They're a partner with Zwift. I know a lot of people right now are talking about sauce. Sauce is cool, no doubt. And Zwift there's so many different elements. As you peel back the onion, you realize that there's some real bright minds out there. And in the racing out here now, we're starting to just see a whole nother level. Without any doubt in my mind, this season's been the most fun, whether it's ZRL or what's happening on Fridays with the Zwift Grand Prix, which has been, I mean, Nathan, hasn't that been a blast? I have loved doing those with you.
Yeah, the Zwift Grand Prix has been amazing.
Fridays are great.
Fridays are some of the best racing we've ever seen in the
best,
world.
I think the best I've ever been involved with, even considering, Nathan, all of the in real life racing I've done, this has been some of the most fun we've ever had in either realm.
100%. Yeah, and really it's the ability to highlight each one of these riders in these scratch races that we're watching here. The scratch/points races, it's really about the teams in some ways. Overall, you really get the sense of exactly who the teams are and how they're performing. But the individual is sub to the team the whole time, right? Like the individual is like playing a part in the team the entirety of this time. Whereas within what we saw with that parkour picker this last week, the individual was the team. They became on equal footing during each one of those races and just had to show up and shine for that team. And I really enjoyed that part, to be able to see each individual out there play their part and their role when it came to that. And we did see a lot of these riders as well as these teams represented out there in that. Specifically with this women's group, there's such a high caliber in this EMEA. We pretty much are seeing a repeat in some ways of a lot of the same riders and same teams.
Yeah, there's a lot of cross pollination. You're right. Probably a quarter of these women race on Fridays as well. Yeah, that format, as Nathan was just talking about, last Friday, each team of the 12 teams had picked one rider for 5 different events, and it was perfect. It was incredibly exciting, and everybody had their chance to play their role for their team. Let's turn my attention now, though, back to the tunnel here as we drop down. I think it's a really unique part of the course here. It's always so interesting to go visit in real life places that are used on Zwift, and this is one of them. As we're on Champs-Elysees here, just about 30K, so 3/5 of the way in. Plenty more sprinting coming up. I have a feeling the fastest through segment most likely has been distributed those points already, but we'll see. A very small group at this point, so it's been a slugfest out here. As right now, just taking some inventory, it looks like all of Wahoo Lacole is here. It's Cryo, our top team, Toyota Cryo RDT. I think they've got their entire team here as well, Nathan. ElectricSpirit.co. I only see 2 jerseys at this point. I might be missing one, but it looks like 2 to me. One of them, though, is the potent sprinter, Katie Loker.
Yeah, Katie Loker's here, and Kent is here as well. As far as fastest through segment, it does look like Maria Holdcroft currently holds on to the fastest through segment.
She's had a great day. Rider to watch.
Closely followed by Coralie Arthur and Lindsay Cassie, though. It's pretty much all Wahoo Lacole. Rachel Brown. Luis Gamps is, I think, sitting there in 4th for fastest through. Zoe is in there close behind.
Rachel Brown is a new name to me, Nathan. I'm going to do some investigating on, but she's a rider that's coming on strong right now. Wahoo Lacole is very, very good at identifying talent and that works well in their system, which looks like a very cool system to me.
Yeah, actually, Rachel Brown, this is a rider to watch out for perhaps some breakaway situations. She's got a solid 4.5 watt per kilogram when it comes to 20 minutes. She's been racing, it looks like, only 31 races, though, out on Zwift, and a level 41 Zwifter. So this is a new addition, it looks like. She's been 5th at National Time Trial, actually, 2022. It looks like...
IRL.
Yeah, in real life. In real life, yep. Yeah, coming out of the United Kingdom.
Downtown Rachel Brown, I'm calling her.
I mean, that's pretty intense, actually.
Oh, that's legit.
Duathlon champion of 2021? National duathlon champion.
She has all her CV is completely chock full of obvious talent. There's no question we're going to hear a lot more about downtown Rachel Brown, Nathan. This is obviously a rider of talent, of repute, as they say. This is a Lauren Langham that we're with now. Love the fact that there's multiple Langhams on that Wahoo Lacole team. Always encouraging when you see your sister having success. I'm glad that she was able to jump back in. As a matter of fact, Wahoo Lacole looks like they're attacking. That might be Coralie, actually.
Lindsay Cassie. It's going to be Cassie. Cassie giving it a go here, it looks like. And this is a good rider to send off the front. We saw her do this in the Grand Prix as well. This is a rider who can really hold a high watts per kilogram for a solid VO2 type effort here. Just about a little over a minute, maybe 2 minutes here of effort to try and hold this off. They're going to just let everybody else make the chase. Langham, though, jumping, interesting enough.
Well, they're double dipping
sure what's happening there, though.
Yeah. Well, very, very interesting. So
the gap is big enough. The gap is big enough. You think that's what's going on?
She's not leading them up to. There you go. She's getting a gap now, so she's gone. That's Zoe Langham that we're looking at. So Wahoo Lacole is trying to stack some more points up, points on points on points, and I think that's exactly what we're seeing here now. Okay, score 1 for Wahoo Lacole here. So they haven't had a bad sprint yet. This looks like it's one of their best at this point. They're having quite a day out here. So Wahoo Lacole trying to climb that ladder, as they are not our top team. That is Toyota Cryo. They can claim that. But this is going to be an interesting back half of the season now, as obviously we've got a reinvigorated, very strong Wahoo Lacole team. First and second and third, I think. 1, 2, 3 Swedes, then couple of Swedes coming through.
What does
That's
this
going to be
say
so.
about the difference of
Nathan,
this course compared to what we've seen
well,
so
it's one of the
far?
hardest. Yeah, I mean, especially when you factor in 7 sprints out here and faster through segments. This is just a day for heavy, heavy legs. I am just hearing from Michael Knudsen, who's one of our all-time favorite people, the Danish rider, that Captain Führer here is a former Swiss World Cup skier, which all respect there, like the downhill, giant slalom type skier, right? Um, you have to be a beast to do that. And she's a monster sprinter and clearly getting it figured out. So that Swiss rider, actually Michael Knudsen's partner, Nathan. So there you go. He said to say hi to you, by the way.
Hey, good to see Michael hanging out. That's absolutely awesome. Good to
He's
see
such a cool
Captain
dude.
Fur.
He's a Danish police officer now.
I want to know why
And
there's a monkey emoji in her name as well. Is there
she
like
loves
a
monkeys.
she likes monkeys? There's somebody like
I
I'm
think
wondering what's happening
they're
there. I'm
popular,
liking it. They are
right?
popular. Yeah.
Oh, this doesn't look fun, Nathan, at the back of the group here.
Christine just getting them back on terms. Rachel Brown off the back. Unexpected there.
Surprise.
Carly Johan
Swift grab.
off the back
Huge
as
name.
well.
Two big towns. Now, they might get back on. They're that strong. I think they both just had a what we'd call in America a brain fart, right? Where because it must have been just a bad moment there. Not necessarily something happened because you wouldn't expect to see in this situation.
Yeah, these are both names that they may get back on terms. Johan definitely has the engine.
These two are
she has
strong
the engine.
enough. And
she has the engine for it.
yeah, and the Peloton looks like they're sitting up a little bit. So I'm going to anticipate this is a bummer moment for these two, but I think they get back. But you don't want to do this too many times.
And Johan is
They're
definitely
working.
somebody from I Race Like a Girl.
I think Brown's going to take a poll here.
Though? Is I Race Like a Girl? I don't believe is in. I wonder
There
if she's
isn't a
guest
Sisu
riding?
here. Well, am I missing something, Nathan? Is Sisu in this race? Because I don't see.
No, there's no Sisu.
Them.
There's no Sisu.
Okay. Okay, so that was formerly where we used to know Carly from, if I remember correctly, was the Sisu I Race Like a Girl program. So it looks like she's changed over now.
Yeah, I'm gonna double check and see where the
I'll figure it
points are
out.
going. But maybe there is I Race Like a Girl in here, and I just didn't pick up on it. Looking around through
Again, there's literally nearly tens of thousands of racers in ZRL, and everyone matters. And every now and then I get caught out because riders do change teams, and there's a lot of dynamics at play out here. Carly Johan is a triathlete that has had tremendous success in the ZRL, and I would say she's been here as long as I have, going back to with the esports.
TTT days. I mean, she's one of the originals when it comes to the TTT.
100%.
And
she's got
this
a
I
great
Race Like
motor.
a Girl team.
They're back. They're back.
He's gonna
Good
do
to
what
see.
it looks like.
So it speaks to how quality they are, because any other riders, not any other riders, but there's not many riders that I would think could rejoin this group, but these two are she's going to attack now. They ride right up to the front.
I'd have to agree with that. I mean,
up.
that's a pretty amazing catch that they made just now.
They caught a bit of a break that the Peloton wasn't full gas either, right? So it was two things. They're strong, and the Peloton wasn't in full freak out mode.
293 races underneath Carly Johan's belt. Nicely.
But Nathan, that's in that
there.
upper, like you don't see too many riders over 200 races. I mean, for example, you race an incredible amount. And what have you done? 500 in your life, or even more than 500 now? I guess so, probably for you.
How many have I done? I'm gonna go.
I'm curious, actually. You haven't done 1,000 races, have you?
No, 511. 511.
Okay,
races.
good. I was actually pretty close then on 500. Yeah, because every race is, there's the preparation, and thank God you don't have to travel to 500 races.
Yeah, I mean, amongst
That's
this
the beauty
crew,
of Zwift.
You say that, but amongst this crew, though, right? Like this crew is gonna have like a minimum of like 50 races or something out on Zwift. That's like the minimum, probably.
They're experienced lot.
There's so much experience in here. That's for sure. That was it. I wonder what happened there that last lap, actually, with 15K to go, and we saw Johan off the back there for a moment. And was it an intent, or did they just go that hard? I think with the way that Zoe attacked to go across there, and the speeds and the way they're ramping
So
up
you're
in the
sort of
fight for
at
the
the
points.
back. Your cat knocks over a cup of water near the computer. You grab a towel. Zoe attacks. Next thing you know, you're 40 feet back.
That's a
Not
regular day
blaming the
out on
cat.
Zwift.
I feel like the cat is being
Just a regular day out on
blamed.
Zwift. Like,
Yeah.
something that just happens in your living room every other day. Cats throwing things around.
Your kid has lit a French toast stick on fire.
Yeah. And that's like Zoe attacking is just a thing that happens in my living room.
It's one of 3 factors that led to you being dropped. It wasn't just Zoe attacking, it was also the French toast stick that had been ignited or something. Right. So these racers are absolutely amazing in what they do, and it's so much respect for that. It's been fun. I don't know if just so many lately. I've seen videos of family cheering on. KK comes to mind, of family cheering on racers,
I thought for sure
and
we
it
were
makes me
going to
really
cat
happy.
memes. I thought for sure we were going to. You've seen videos of cats.
I'm not a cat meme lover as much as some. That's Rachel Brown that we're looking at, downtown Rachel Brown. She got back too, so proud of you, Rachel. Good work out there today. Never say die. They've got a couple laps of racing remaining out here now, Nathan. A lot of sprinting to do. I certainly would be keeping my eye on the Wahoo Lacole ladies. They're shifty.
Yeah, and the cool thing about this today is that this team has really shown in a new way, it seems like to me, that they haven't the rest of the season so far. With the gap that Toyota Coyote T have on them in the point structure right now, I just get the feeling that today is a breakout ride, and hitting the middle of the season in stride this way. I just wonder if they're going to really ramp up in the second half, or is this just really suit their talents? Like, what's happening here today with Wahoo Lacole for this round of this season?
Well, and also to be fair to Toyota Cryo, Wahoo Lacole can go absolutely ballistic and do what they're doing as long as Toyota Cryo, basically, for lack of a pardon my French, but as long as they don't stink out here, if they can get thirds, seconds, thirds, fourths, they'll still hold on, right? So it's not like they have to win every week. They just need to not have a bad week, and they're in pretty darn good shape. So you'd say that they're in the driver's seat as far as this series go. And again, this is the 4th of 6. So after this race ends, we're 2/3 of the way through the season. Let's take a look at what's happening there. Is that this arch season? It's going to be a Holcroft again. She might get outside of Wahoo Lacole. She's the rider of the day out here today. The Synergy rider Holcroft.
Double burritos. The worst power up she could have possibly gotten on her attacks. But
useless for her right here.
I mean, essentially, yeah. I mean, even with that little dig she gave,
they're so
really
far
tried
back,
to hold
they're
her
not
wheel.
drafting either way.
Nothing was happening there with it. But Cassie seems to be the one that they put on the front there to make sure that this stays steady. 4.8 at the front. They do not want to let Holcroft go interesting. Do you see this? Cassie's setting the tempo.
Well, they also, you know what, instinctively, even though this is points based and it's really about putting riders in the top 10, you don't have to win the day outright for your team to win. These racers race to a finish line, and you can't untrain that instinct from racers. So they're not going to let her go and just take the victory without a real fight. This is going to be Cassie now getting some separation from that from the Peloton here. So she's now starting to bridge up. It's an interesting moment, Nathan. Didn't necessarily expect to see Wahoo Lacole sending one rider up here. I thought they'd more use the cover and kill format with the whole team back in this group. And Toyota Cryo right now is happy to just sort of let this play out the way it is. So here we go, down inside of 13K of racing on Champs-Élysées.
Interesting what you're saying about both the Cryogen, Stelvio team, and SZ team, that they can hold their spots with that first and second, as long as they stay consistent. As long as they stay consistent. I mean,
exactly.
The monstrous jump that we've got to see, and as well as a few of these teams getting in the mix there too, like taking second and third between Wahoo Lacole and this dominating performance we've seen so far. And the race isn't over yet either. But Holdcroft holds on. Cassie's here. Hermanson looking to come across. Is she going to hold on for SZ? Because SZ's been grabbing some points here later on in the race. Look at Wahoo Lacole. 1, 2, 3 coming through. No, it's going to be 1. Corley Arthur with 10 watts per kilogram grabs that.
Today's a Wahoo Lacole day, actually. I mean, it's become very clear that today is going to be the day that I'll be stunned if they don't take top table today, Nathan, with the full 20 points that go with that. But as you accurately said, if you're going to end up with Toyota sitting second or third, and Swedish sitting second or third, they're not going to make up that much ground, even though they've had a dominant ride out here today. And that's why the new point structure is better, if you ask me.
Yeah, and really,
the Grand Prix structure, I should say, that we use on Fridays, which gives you a little more opportunity to make up big chunks.
Kent, nice little roll through there. Interesting enough. I wonder what the use of that power up was for there, though. Maybe just was struggling to be on terms and then rolls right to the front. Got a little anxious, perhaps, Dave, you think? I think just a little anxious that she wasn't going to stay involved.
So panic, right? It's interesting because sometimes you get a little juice from that, but it's also burning a battery that you maybe didn't want to. This is going to be Katie Loker.
I think she was just going through FTS there. I think she was full gas going
full
through
Loker
FTS.
mode.
Yeah, I think that she's off the back and was like,
mode.
look, I'm just going to see if I can grab a 10-second sprint through that section.
And the answer is yes, she could. She's one of the riders where that's realistic, Nathan. Bummer that she's out of that group, but she certainly has the potential to do exactly that. When the Romans came to, where Paris stands now, that's Lutece is the original name, the Roman name of Paris, explaining that sprint name we just saw there. Little factoid.
Now moving our way into the final lap in just a moment here, Dave.
Just a moment,
minutes of racing down. We've got a lap and a half to go. And
what a day. What a long day. Because they've been racing at a good clip here, Nathan. And they've still got, 15 minutes of racing out here.
Yeah, as you
not
can
for the
see,
weak of heart.
Yeah, and who's left in this is the other question. We've got, as far as teams go and big names about who might be able to take the first across the line at the end. We still got one more sprint to go, so there's still some points. But, from what I've seen from Coralie so far, these uphill sprints, she's been very involved in them and grabbing some points, but I don't think that that's necessarily her go-to I think she would prefer the drag race to the line versus this uphill grind type of sprint. And I have a feeling she's going to be one to watch out for in the final.
To be honest, normally I would say, look, it's a no-brainer. It's going to be Zoe Langham all day long and then twice on Sunday. But she's got a broken collarbone, as we learned, so you can't, heap so much onto her plate now. And Coralie. So what's interesting is it's this time of year where athletes, a lot are finishing up an in real life season. Some of our esports athletes are really getting fired up to go. So it's hard to know where people are at, right? But certainly, how can you ever look past Coralie? She's a tremendous athlete. She's just always on top of it. I've been so impressed by the person that she is, and certainly as an esport athlete, she's fierce. So that's a pretty darn good call. With Katie Loker out of this group now, Valentina out of this group, it certainly seems all directions point to exactly what you just said, Nathan.
Catherine Inside Furr, of not,
that's your best. Yeah, adversary. Führer's going to have her moment in this sport. This would be a great breakthrough, right, for the Swiss skier.
Yeah, and then there's Jarhead. She's in there. Marlene's still in here as well.
100%. Absolutely.
Right? I think Jenny Eck has still made this from the Stelvio team. Lisa
very select group.
Here. Kat Ridgway, it's like Coralie. And then, interesting enough, we still do have the.
What about Lauren Langham, right? Zoe's sister. Well, it'd be interesting to see if she's got that kind of chutzpah. She's still in this group.
Yeah, this group definitely has all kinds of firepower to be watching.
Very interesting. Paul. There you go. I knew I was missing someone. The Socks for Watts rider, the German. She's talented. Keep an eye on her, and she's surfing this group very well right now, just staying right in the thick part of the draft, like
Look at
sitting
how they're riding
on a semi.
At this point. I mean, it's really spread across the road at this point.
Do you think someone does attack, Nathan? Do we see Wahoo Lacole send someone up the road?
It's going to be about speed and the moments that speed's created, and the gap can be quickly established. So I think a lot of these ladies are pretty tired. We're 1 hour of racing in.
Been a
We've gone over
hard
the
day.
top here. Yeah, I mean, we've gone
Yeah.
over the top of the Champs-Élysées here with about 6 times now at this point. 7 to go. Seven coming up in just a second here, and you've got to really be confident at this point. And if you burn a match right now, Dave, you're coming to the line when it comes to the final, and this next sprint, half tank. That's not what you're looking for, And so it's going to be an all-in moment if you go.
The risk reward here, I think the risk is higher than reward, to tell you the truth. Attacking with let's call it 8K to go with this group and with some very heavy legs at this point, I'm 100% with you. I think it's really now setting up for the sprint. It's inevitable that someone goes, and you're seeing that Wahoo Lacole wants to pick up the pace. That's coming from a director, I have to think, from both Toyota Cryo and Wahoo Lacole. Let's just lift this pace a little bit here. It was bogging down a bit. That's Kent, the orange and white there for electricspirit.co. So we've seen some surprisingly talented riders, surprisingly being dropped, and this is going to be the Italians attacking now as Castelli on the move.
Donnie, and this move here, I like it. If you haven't had the confidence in your sprint, perhaps, or you're not sure, you can match the likes of some of these 11, 12, 13 watt per kilogram that some of these ladies can throw down for 15. I mean, that's
why
insane
not?
amounts
Why
of effort.
not?
Yeah, why not give it a go and make
Hope
a move?
that they sleep on you.
Exactly.
Hope that they don't believe in you. Right. I couldn't agree more. I mean, that's racing right there. What are your chances of winning out of the breakaway? Okay, Nathan, they're not huge. They're small. They're pretty minuscule, but they're better than your chances of winning out or even getting the points that you need out of the group. So roll the dice. Be brave. Fortune favors the brave, but it looks like fortune also favors Wahoo Lacole.
Yeah, because they have Lindsay Cassidy, who they continue to just put on the front. Anytime anyone tries to go, Cassie just goes right to the front and just starts smashing the pedals. And now Cassie she's
the eliminator.
No, she just brings it back together.
Yeah, she's the hope eliminator for other teams out there. When you see Cassie to the front, you're like, oh, great. They're going to nail this one back. It looks like a counterattack is coming, so it's hotting up out here. This is draft, red kit there, and Nevin hitting out, but not with enough force that it sends shockwaves through this group as Wahoo Lacole now is going to start trying to control this one. It looks like that's going to be Cassie again to the front. She's had a tremendous ride for the team today. Certainly gets a gold star.
She's not messing around either. She's just making things difficult for everyone right
now.
Very,
methodical.
6 watts per kilogram, 183 beats per minute. I mean, this is like way over FTP. You can do it. Way over FTP.
She's having an exceptional ride. Obviously, the adrenaline of being in the mix here. Esports is back, baby, and in full effect. That's going to be lap traffic, I think, that we're looking at there.
100%. Yeah.
So this is still the front of the race, the vanguard, or better put, tête de la corsa, the front of the race. Cabeza de carrera, the head of the race. There's some Spanish, finally, as we take a look at Cassie. It'd be interesting if they slept on her and she just rode away with all the work she's done today. Never
she is a rider who could do that. She is a rider who, if they backed off and didn't really chase this, but it looks like Zahid wants some points here. Here comes Team SZ later in the race here. This is where the big points are up for grabs now. Zoe Langham looks to respond. 9-7 coming from Langham now. It's going to be Stelvio Cryo DT there with, I believe that's Gam starting to come across there too. But Zahid showing us exactly what we said earlier, Dave. She's the one to be watching out for, I think, in this final. She's been saving things here, and it's going to be SZ holding Langham, trying to come across, but to the line, it's going to be right there. I think it's Marlene, followed up by Langham. Cassie holds on for third. Farrah from WLC and Corley Arthur there. WLC still sweeping up the top 4 of the 5 points, the 5 places, top 5 places in the points. And separation now behind Dave. This is whittled again.
Well, it's very much like that scene in Star Wars. These are not the droids you're looking for, because in all honesty, Nathan, Wahoo Lacole is not the big problem for our leading team out here, Toyota Cryo. It's the Swedes. It really is. Swedes are in second. They're very close. They have
4 riders here. They have
And
4
they have 4.
riders left.
So
Yeah.
would you agree with me? A bigger even though if you're watching this race, you're like, it's been Wahoo Lacole left, right, and center. But the Swedes are actually the team that are the biggest threat out here, and they are in great shape right now. I think you'd agree with that, actually.
Yeah, and
Because this is going to
look
be
at this. We've got Nilsson off the back. This is a great point you're making here, Dave. Nilsson's off the back. Now, just getting back on terms, it's going to be Gilson here as well. Then we've got Gamps just surviving. Well, as the Swedes, they followed wheels and they were able to just stay in contention. They've
quietly
grabbed
just
points
right
all the way
there.
through. They've been really right there, consistent. And now, because they've been sitting in here, I wonder if they've got the kick to the line when it comes to the final
This is it.
FAL.
Like, it's funny, right? Like Tai Chi, where you let your opponent wear themselves out, throwing pointless punches. And I'm not saying that Wahoo Lacole's done that at all. They've been really effective, and I still think they're the team to beat. But if the Swedish team is able to pull this off, where they take top points today, they've been there or thereabouts all day, but they haven't gone ballistic. Now would be the time. I certainly,
Watch out for
I
this
think,
woman.
Nathan.
Watch out
Yeah,
for this woman, I think. At the
Bjarne
end
is
here.
such a talent, and I would say that the Swedes have that combination of experience, horsepower, motivation. That this is without a doubt one of the all-time great teams. Wahoo Lacole, phenomenal, and they are definitely the new kids on the block. But the Swedes, they'd kind of chuckle, I think, and say, "We've been doing this for years."
This is one of the greatest comments I've
I
ever
feel like
seen.
it's a rap battle. Right. Yeah, but we've been
This
here
right
for
here.
years, punk. Yep.
Love it. Now, I love Grenier
call it a
coming in, letting
comeback.
us know that that Sweets are his biggest threat as well, I think is what he meant to say. And well,
Sweets,
the Swedes,
either way.
well, I mean,
Either way.
they
I've heard
threatened
it
us
both
as well.
ways.
I mean, we got all kinds of SC Sweets that showed up at our house even for broadcasts. So.
That was a career highlight when we got that package. That's the
100%.
Tutti Frutti days. Yeah.
All right, now here we go, Dave. This is
refresh.
going to be
Okay, yes.
this is going to be WLC. Okay, what do we got going for teams here, though? If we take a look across here,
Toyota Cryo, Swedes, and Wahoo Lacole, I'm going to say are the big ones to watch. Those 3.
100%. Those 3 are in there. Then we do have a little bit of orange creamsicle there. It is going to be the Electric Spirit.
That's Kent.
Yeah,
that's
still
Kent
in with us. Carly
Gin
Johan
makers.
has made this. I'm not sure she's got the kick to make the moves with some of these riders. But then we've got Massey as well as Holdcroft still for that synergy team. KRT are still involved with one rider, it looks like, up toward the front
Holdcroft's
there.
my wild card. Holdcroft has been really ahead above out here.
Consistent,
so I'm going to say that
consistent.
Yeah. She's been in the mix. Certainly watch out for her. That's the synergy rider that's making her mark. Nathan, we're down to 3K to go out here.
And the right-hand turn, we're going to see, we just went past actually on the opposite side of the course, the finish line. The riders have just gotten a look at it. Now it's going to be a left-hand turn here. There's some lap traffic up ahead. We can ignore that rider if you do see it off in the distance. But how many riders do we have in this back? I mean, this is a solid group here.
30. That's probably 28 is my guess, just on rough estimate, thumbnail sketch. It's a small select group, just like we saw in the men's race. This course does damage lap after lap. The sprints are hellacious to get through because, I mean, even if you're not sprinting at the back, it accordions out and just closing down these gaps. Again, as Nathan mentioned, that's not a breakaway dangling off the front. So it's not beyond Dave Towle to miss that. But in this case, that's traffic.
I'm seeing a lot of cheering for Wahoo Lacole coming on in. Laura Perry in chat.
We have a big fan base.
Teppy out there as well. Yeah, big fan base hanging out in chat out here today. Great to
I know
see.
Michael's cheering for Catherine, our new favorite, the Swiss skier, Footer.
And my question here, has it been saved by Toyota and the Swedes while Wahoo Lacole have...
Well, as I said, if the Swedes if Toyota gets third, today is certainly far from a failure.
100%.
Because they're only going to give up 2 points in the swing when you look at how much Wahoo Lacole would gain if Wahoo Lacole wins. And that's not a done deal because the Swedes are here to say, what are you talking about? We're going to win today. And they certainly could.
Now, this is going to be the one section where you may see a long go, or like a 1K.
If you're going to launch an attack, you do it here.
Exactly. Up and over the top here. It will slow down for just
Nobody's
a
gonna.
moment. Off the back a little. Is
I
that
think everything's going to
Coralie?
stay pretty calm.
Coralie, it
They,
looks like 7.8 there, real quick.
she's
Making sure she gets
okay.
into position. Cassie now,
She's okay.
2.1 at the back.
Cassie's done. So Cassie's done her work today. I don't think she's going to come back into this group. I truly,
Little kick.
she proves me wrong. She's coming right back. She's so strong. What was that all about? She's going to attack.
Oh,
she's attacking.
She goes to the back and goes right on through.
She surfed through the group. Yep. She used the whole group to help launch her. This is quite a woman here. Another attack at 1.5K to go. So while Nicole moves the first chess piece around on the finale board, Nathan, and this is going to be serious. Toyota Harris responding. Here we go, folks. Welcome to the Thunderdome. It's finale time.
Yeah, and it's going to be Harris now making the chase
on
for Stelvio
like
now.
Kong.
Yeah, and Holcroft is there now as well. And that's just going to put her out of position. Cassie's got 2 seconds, Dave. They're looking at her. 6.9 watts per kilogram. Can she hold on all the way to the line? 7 watts per kilogram. She might do this. That's a pretty good gap. But if there's any ramp up right now, it's going to get closed so quickly. Out to 3 seconds. Can you hold on to 3 seconds over this last half a K?
Barely. They're not going to get her. I honestly think that now if she can sustain this, she's gone. It's still a long, long way. I mean, we're talking 800 meters, but this woman has been awesome all day long. Welcome to downtown Paint City, and now they're attacking out of the group. So that's going to be, well, it looks like Fuller has gone, but right behind her, behind Cassie, let's see here. It's a who's who, Nathan. This is it, bringing it in hot.
Oh, it's right to the line. It's going to be Cassie pulls it off, laying up there for third. Arthur, I think, for fourth. WLC go 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. What a
most
move.
Likely
they let her
second.
go.
So my guess is it's Wiley Nicole Swedes, then Toyota Cryo, meaning this just gets even better for next week. It's again, the points should tighten up on top of the leaderboard by my rough estimate here. Another great day of racing, Nathan. Good choice on bringing these women to the limelight.
Look at this. Lindsay Cassie, what a move. Holds on over the top of her there. I mean, that was as close as it gets when it comes to a teammate chasing you down, but it didn't matter. It was WLC either way. I mean, that feeling of chasing your teammate down, right?
Yeah. All day.
Look at Langham with 12.5 from the group as well. Waits patiently, doesn't chase her teammate. Langham takes down third. Coralie's right to the line, but I think it's Fardstrom just holding on. Paul for Sox for Watts. It's going to be, it looks like Gilson, followed up by Bardosvodka, and then Langham, Lauren Langham, Holdcroft, and Jarhead. Marlene not actually involved in that top podium spot. So, Dave, whoa.
I'm surprised.
Insane racing.
Well, hey, come see me tonight. Come Zwift at Greg's Greenlight Cycles in Bellevue, Washington, the home of Nadia Guntova and V-Win and other famous Zwift racers. But I am headed up to Seattle right now.
Right now? In Seattle?
That's where my next stop will be. Seattle, Washington. I've got about a 4-hour drive ahead of me here.
All right, Dave's on his way. He's taking off right now.
Yeah.
Everybody literally has to go. Get in the car. All right. Well, you can go see where.
I won't
speed. Are you gonna be? Where are you going to be in Seattle? One more time.
Yeah. Greg's Green Lake, which is like Broken Spoke. It's a huge popular shop in Bellevue, which is near Seattle. Sorry about my camera here on my remote equipment. But yeah, so come by if you're in Seattle. I'd love to see you folks. It's always fun, isn't it, Nathan, seeing Zwifters in real life?
Tons of fun. It's absolutely awesome. And Dave does an amazing job. If you want to, is it KOM challenges? You guys doing KOM challenges?
Yeah, forward KOM. You should have seen last night here in Portland. I mean, it was unbelievably fun. They've been getting better and better. It's with Garmin that we're doing these tours. People get on Zwift and they can win Garmin prizes, and it's really just about community for sure. So that being said, last night here in Portland was one of our best nights ever. So it's fun.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Well, we're going to have to hand you over to WTRL.racing for results, as we're unable to bring up the final results across the line, but you were able to see them. WLC there, 1, 2, and 3 across the line. It looked like absolute domination. You can have it over to WTR.racing for all of the Zwift racing results. I'm going to be live tonight over on my Twitch channel for
good luck.
America's West. It'll be interesting to see. This is a hard course.
Have fun.
And then Wednesday
Yeah.
Worlds tomorrow and the wrap on Thursday and Grand Prix on Friday, everybody. The streaming's going to be nonstop for the rest of the week, so make sure to check all those out. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And as always, right on.